Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Business South Carolina. Glad you're with us today, and I am here with my first guest, and that is Mary Church Cornette. Mary is the CEO and the owner at Fuel. Fuel is a full-service marketing agency headquartered in Greenville, doing business a little bit of everywhere. Mary went to the California Institute of the Arts, and then she spent quite a bit of time in New York City. And then she found her way to Greenville, South Carolina, and now she has found her way to our studio. Mary, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Rick.
It is good to have you here. You know, I was talking with one of your folks here not too long ago, Brittany Cindy, and Brittany was on the show, and she was telling me that she spent time in Dubai and other places across the big pond. And now you come to us from New York, even though you've been here for a while. It seems like all roads lead to Greenville.
That's right. I think they do.
So I asked Brittany what she was doing in Dubai and what led her back here, and we had a nice conversation about that. But let's talk about you for a second before we get into business. And tell me, now, you've been here 4 years in Greenville.
Almost 5.
You what?
Almost 5 years.
Almost 5 years.
Yes, that's right.
And you bought out Fuel, gosh, a year ago almost exactly.
That's right.
Right?
That's
so
right.
Tell me first, what brought you from the big city down to little old Greenville, South Carolina?
So, as you said, I started my career with education at California Institute of the Arts. It's called CalArts for those who know it, and started my career in the dot-com boom quite a long time ago. Been in this industry for a while. And found myself in New York probably maybe 3 or 4 years after my career was underway, and spent a ton of time working at big agencies on big brands. I worked at Frog and Digitas and RGA and Publicis on large brands like GE and Verizon and American Express and Walmart. And my husband and I decided to make a change. We were living with a dog, a cat, and 2 children in a 1,000-square-foot apartment, and said it was time.
Were you in Manhattan?
So we were in Manhattan for a while, and then we moved to Brooklyn, Williamsburg, Brooklyn, for the bulk of our time. So we were there for 16 years.
Oh, my goodness.
So we paid our dues and then moved down to Greenville, and I thought I was done. You know, I'm going to take some time off, figure out what's next, and then I found Fuel. And Fuel was a successful marketing agency at that time for, 10, 11 years, and I fell in love.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, I have been to New York several times, but it's been quite a while, and I absolutely love the city. I mean, it's one of those love it, hate it kind of places, right?
Love it.
I love it. I love the energy. And I almost, when I was 27, 28 years old, I almost moved into the city myself for a job opportunity, but I wound up not doing that. Anyway, all I'm saying is I've been there and I love it, but my goodness, is it different than Greenville, South Carolina. And so you came to Greenville, but you're a northeastern girl. How do you like it here?
Well, it took a little bit of time to relax and
get the speed.
Yeah. I came from a totally different speed, but over time, I have just grown to absolutely love the Greenville community, and I love my neighborhood. I'm in the North Main neighborhood, and it's been so wonderful for my children. I have an almost 13-year-old and an almost 10-year-old, and they have just thrived.
Boys, girls?
2 girls.
Oh, goodness. 13-year-old girl, man. That gives me the willies just thinking about that again.
Yeah.
Middle school with a daughter, that was tough. But, okay, well, anyway, I am glad you're in Greenville.
Me too.
And let's talk business.
Well, let's do it.
So, Fuel, you call yourself a branding agency first and foremost, right?
We call ourselves a brand building agency.
Brand building agency.
Yeah, a brand building agency.
And so let's talk about that a little bit. You're a full-service marketing firm. You do all the same types of things that all the marketing firms do, but you refer to yourself as brand building. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we specialize in brand building, which means we are experts in brand strategy and brand design, and take a brand-first approach to marketing overall. So that really means focusing on the foundational elements of a brand, because you can't market a successful or create a successful campaign without building on a really strong foundation, and that means a strong brand.
Right. I would assume, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but I would assume that your approach to marketing was greatly influenced by you working on huge brands in New York City who probably saw the value of really working on brand itself. And you brought that with you down here. Am I right in saying that?
I think that you are right, although a lot of my experience at these behemoths of agencies is quite different. And a lot of the experience that I had in terms of structure, organization, just running the business is not applicable. It's not applicable at all. And so I've sort of had to relearn what it means to create a culture where people are thriving, not just surviving, people who love to do what they do and love to come to work. And it's been, I think, the most rewarding part of my career is building this agency and helping to support the coworkers and see them excel and do what they love.
You are listed as the creative director in addition to your CEO responsibilities. And of course, Brittany, who was here and we just talked about it, she, I think, is the associate creative director, if I remember correctly. So she's kind of your right hand to some degree, right?
That's right.
Is it normal, and I don't know, is it normal for the CEO to be the creative director, or are you the creative director primarily because that's who you were, that's how you started, and you're just going to hang on to it?
I'm not going to hang on to it forever. I know that I have to let go of that aspect of the business in order to be an effective CEO. I think once we find the right person, so Brittany Cindy is a fantastic brand strategist. So once we find that sort of the ACD level person who can really support the brand design, so the visual aspect of not only branding but also marketing, I think I'll be ready to let go.
You will reluctantly release the reins.
I think I will happily release. I trust my team implicitly, and I want them to kind of be better than I ever could be.
Right.
So I look forward.
Well, that's a good way to be. So let's back up just a little bit. You've been here 4 years. You joined Fuel 4 years ago. You found them. You went to work for them. Everything worked out great. And then some way, somehow, a year ago, you wound up buying it all yourself, and now you are the sole owner. How did that work out? How did that happen?
Well, 5 years ago, probably, when I discovered Fuel, they were in the midst of a rebrand. So it was the perfect opportunity for a creative director to step in and reinvent the company and reinvent the brand. And so from day one, I helped support the company in the reinvention and and helped the team shape the new path forward. Right. And so
you put your stamp on it right away.
Yeah, it always felt like everything that I had, I put into Fuel. I just believed in it from the start. And so it always felt like my heart and soul was there and an opportunity presented itself, and I jumped in with both feet.
Why is it that the branding is so absolutely important? And is branding more important for the big guys or the small guys, equally as important, or what?
So I think branding is incredibly important. I mean, it distinguishes a business in loud and crowded markets. It helps differentiate companies. And I don't care if you are the smallest company or the largest, it's equally as important. And I think that many people misunderstand branding. So branding is gigantic, right? Yeah. There's so many aspects of it. But if you just focus on brand design or brand identity, we refer to it as brand design. Many of our clients come to us thinking they have a brand. They're ready for lead generation. They're ready for additional sales or put heads in beds. But when we look at their company and their brand, we look at it through the lens of brand strategy and brand design. So brand strategy, we want to understand, do they understand their target audience? Do they have a mission? Do they have a promise? Do they have their clear differentiators, clear tone of voice? And from a brand design standpoint, I want to know if the brand passes the thumb test. Do you know what that is?
I do not.
Okay, so imagine you're looking at a website and you use your thumb to cover the logo of the website.
Do you know what they do?
Can you recognize the brand? Is the brand distinct? Is it memorable? Is it recognizable? And if you can cover up the logo and still recognize the brand, that it may have a strong brand.
Brittany and I think, as I recall, we talked about this specific thing. I would guess that you have people that come into your agency and they think, Mary, I don't need help with that. Let's not do that. Let's get right to this.
Yeah.
And you have to say, no, we need to start here. I bet that happens quite a bit.
All the time. They say, we have a logo, we have a color, we have a font, we have a brand guidelines that shows you how to use our logo. And I said, okay. And you can create campaigns with that. But I say a brand is more than a logo. What's your photography style, iconography style, information graphic style, elements, patterns, textures, sounds, mnemonics, haptics, sense. I mean, there's so much, and I can go on and on. There's so much that's contained.
I'm sorry, I got to stop you. Did you just say sense? As in SCENTS?
Hotels, casinos.
That's right, hotels now.
Know this well. Hollister back in 2000.
Yeah, right.
I mean, 25 years ago understood this. And I think as we have all of these different options to create identities, you have Canva, you have AI, you have, people on Upwork who can charge you $5 for a logo. I think, and there's also this crazy saturation of companies. Every URL is taken. I don't know if you've gone through a naming exercise.
Yes.
It's painful.
Yes.
Every URL is taken. Every name is taken. You have to start to change letters, add words in order to differentiate yourself. So branding, I will say brand design is so important to differentiate your company.
So you got a person, they come in, they sit down, they want to jump right to, they want to jump right over here, and you're bringing them back here. Is there times when, that they're just not going to go there? We're just going to have to directly go up here because they're getting their feelings hurt, maybe. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I would assume that happens a lot. So at some point you might just say, okay, I'll come over here with you, right?
I think over time, you have to form trust, right? You have to have a partnership where you can have open dialogue, and we're not going to jump in and say, your brand is trash. We're going to say, we're going to go through this together. Yeah. We can create a campaign now. Let's take an iterative approach. Let's start here, but let's talk about it, because every brand should also convey meaning, right? So I'll start asking some hard questions. Why did you make this choice? What does this mean? Why is, you talk to a typeface designer, there's so much meaning and intentionality that goes into fonts, right? Every single curve is rooted in history and research. And so when you select a typeface, you're selecting a lot of different decisions that are also going to be reflective of your brand. So everything that we recommend is going to be grounded in some kind of meaning and some kind of logic. So it's not going to be, I don't like your logo. I don't care for your colors. No, what do those colors mean? Is that what you're trying to convey? Right. So we try to remove the subjectivity. So it's not personal. This is what you have a really solid understanding of what your brand needs to communicate and to whom. And we just help filter that through the lens of brand design to help you reach the right audience.
I can see that strategies and then tactics are, a direct descendant of brand, right? And so I can also imagine that even though you might have qualms with someone's brand, generally speaking, and if you do, that's going to make strategies and therefore the tactics a little bit difficult.
That's right.
And so you might have to recommend strategies and tactics that you otherwise might not recommend if these people don't want to go back and start from the beginning. Am I right about how that process might work?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you have to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
Right. And really understand what their business objectives are, what they're trying to achieve. You have budgets that you have to work within, restraints, you have deadlines. And so take all of that into consideration. And I think you can't just change a brand or a business in a day. It takes time, and it takes trust, and it takes a lot of planning.
Talk to me about Fuel's brand. You say, several years ago, you were on the ground floor of reestablishing what that brand looks like. Tell me what that brand is today.
The brand, I think, like any good brand, needs to continue to evolve and grow. I think that's one mistake a lot of brands make, is they establish their brand identity and they think they're done. And I think that you're never really done, that you're constantly needing to assess that brand, and you're going to evolve over time. And right now, we are working with a wonderful illustrator to help bring what we call the feed, which is our blog articles, to life in a way that is more unique, more distinct, more us, because that's going to give our articles a different feeling that is more distinct and unique, which is our point of view. So I think we're going to evolve, we're going to change, but we're happy with our brand, but I don't think it's ever done.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because I started Let's Talk Business 6 months ago, maybe not even quite that long. No, not quite that long, 5 months ago or something. But I have changed my mind 22 times over this initial stretch about, just about all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
And you're telling me that that's okay.
That's okay. I think
to a degree.
I think that there is, we have this unique process called the brand blaze, which is our approach to brand strategy.
What brand? What?
The brand blaze.
Blaze. Got it.
Blaze. And it's a 5-step process in order to develop your brand strategy. And so I believe that if you start with that process, you're creating a foundation for your brand that will help you steer your brand during the right path. So as things evolve, you're sort of evolving in the right direction, but you're not going in different directions.
So, Mary, I've pulled your website up here, and I'm looking at it. How long has this website been up as it is right now?
Probably a year. We're actually on the heels of a new refresh of a few of our pages, just to streamline things and to continue to evolve our brand, as I spoke of before.
Tell me about the process that went into what makes a homepage, because I did it not too long ago. That's a huge deal, right? And I'm from the newspaper business, right? So I consider this above the fold in the newspaper world, right?
That's
so
the
I'm
web
looking.
world too.
Okay, good. So I'm above the fold. Is this the most important piece of the website right here? It's supposed to tell you what you do, right? Who you are, what you're about.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right. It still is the most important part of a web experience. You have seconds in order to make someone's mind up about your business. I think it's much like you meet someone in real life and you decide on that person. I think it's milliseconds.
Right.
You decide whether or not you like that person or you don't like that person based on their clothing, their facial expressions, the way they look. And I think websites are the same thing.
Mary, I'll get you out of here on this. I would guess that when times are tough, and when I'm talking about times are tough, I'm talking about 2008 times are tough, right? When economy gets rough. I mean, even over the last couple of years, as we've been struggling with some inflation, things are getting better now. But, people get a little skittish, right? And I would think in tough times that your brand is more important than ever.
I could not agree more. I think that branding is a really critical investment in any business, but particularly in economic downturns. It is really the beacon of trust and familiarity that's going to get you through. I think that the other opportunity that downturns present is the time to step back and analyze and assess your brand and ensure that it is reflecting your why. It is reflecting your promise. It is differentiated in the market. Does the brand pass the thumb test? And I think people are going to connect with the brands that they trust. And so you need to establish that trust and branding is a great way to do that.
You know, I would guess that another time that happened not too long ago where people had to really rethink things was in 2020, March of 2020, this thing called COVID came along. And so many of us did that thing that came into our lexicon that we really hadn't thought of too much before, and that's pivot.
Yeah.
So many of us pivoted from one thing to another, which would require, in some cases, going against brand or reestablishing brand. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, I think that Fuel in particular took a look at our capabilities, right? We're actually not a full service marketing agency anymore. We have decided to specialize in a niche. And so our specialization, as I mentioned before, is really brand strategy and brand design and, brand first marketing strategies. And I think that COVID allowed us the time not to only connect and you learn new ways of working and become closer and stronger as a team, but also just reassess that we don't have to be so big, that we really need to be experts and focus on what we do best.
Good advice. Mary, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks so much for having me.
You are welcome, folks. That is Mary Church Cornette. She is the CEO and now the owner of Fuel marketing agency here in Greenville. Thanks for joining us, but don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick 60-second break, and we're going to come back with Bob Morgan. Bob is the CEO at the South Carolina State Chamber of Commerce. We'll be back in about 60 seconds.